If your best friend right now, pre-op, is overweight and you have surgery, but she does not have surgery, you cannot go back and keep hanging out with her. Why? What's keeping her obese? It's all the stuff that made you obese. Hi, Dr. Duc Vuong. I want to give you a quick little message, and it's about how your life changes after weight loss surgery. Now, I don't mean that your life is going to change because you lose 150 pounds. Obviously, it's going to change when you go from being morbidly obese, maybe wearing a size 27, 28 clothing, down to a size 10 or 8 or 6, or I have a patient who wears a size 0. Obviously, that person life's going to change. But I'm not even talking about how your relationship with food is going to change. I'm not even talking about how your relationship with your husband is going to change, or your spouse, or your significant other. I'm not even talking about how your relationship with yourself is going to change. I've done talks on that. This talk, I want to talk about how you actually change. Like, how do you make it happen? And there are a couple points I want to tell you. Point number 1 is this. If you don't take control of your life, if you don't actively engage in trying to control your life, in which direction will your life change? Will it change positive or negative? Who knows? Which way will it go? Positive or negative? Up or down? The answer is this. If you don't control your life, it will change for the negative. It will change for the negative. Why? Because the world, for the most part, is negative. Now listen, don't get me wrong. I love this world. I love being alive at this time in history, and I love everything that this world has to offer. And I'm a very positive person, but I am positive that the world is negative. You can see it in our news, television news, our world events, our current, just hanging at the water cooler at work, talking to your friends and loved ones. It's generally negative speaking, right? So if you do nothing about your life, if you are a passive bystander in your life, it will go negative. Think about that. Think about all the drama you see or hear about. Think about everything you're surrounded by. It tends to be negative because negativity is what sells the news, right? So to a large degree, if you think about it, that's how maybe if you're suffering from obesity, this is maybe one of the cause of why you became obese. You just, at some point in your life, you quit caring, right? You quit caring that you were overweight. Maybe you were 200 pounds, and what's another 10 pounds? I'm already 280 pounds. What's the point of getting 300? There's a woman that's so screwed up in the head living in England. She's trying to become the heaviest woman ever. She's already 1,000 pounds. I mean, think about that. It's crazy, right? So, number 1, your life will generally tend to change for the negative, which explains why most people, by the time they're middle-aged, are freaking unhappy and miserable and upset. And by the time they're age 65 or 70, getting ready for retirement, they are really miserable, grouchy, grumpy old men, I don't want to be a grumpy old person. I want to be, happy. Okay, so point number 1 is your life is going to change for the negative unless you, take control of it, yes? Which takes me to point number 2. Now, if you don't want your life to change negative, and the opposite is obviously positive, if you want it to change for the positive, what do you have to do? So, what you actually have to do, the number 1 thing that you can do is change your environment. It's not genetics, guys. It's not genetics. It's not politics. It's not the economy. It's not the government. It's not your mother. Poor moms. Moms get blamed for so much stuff that's, And the funny thing is we all have moms. As far as I can tell, we all came from a woman. So we can't keep blaming stuff out there. The problem is not out there. The problem is always in here, But you can help yourself along by changing the environment within which you interact with the world. Okay? So if I'll give you an example, if you're wanting to read more books, well, it helps that you have a place where you can sit that has your book that you're currently reading right next to it, a reading area, or just helps to have books inside your house. People don't have books inside their houses anymore, right? If you're trying to be more successful, it would help if you joined an entrepreneurs group or a success group, coaching group, mentorship. If you wanted to have a better marriage, it would help if you hung out with happy married couples as opposed to happy single people. It's okay to hang out with single people. Eventually you're going to become single. Just trust me on that. So change your environment. So a lot of you guys watching are trying to lose weight. Well, you know how hard it is to lose weight if you have junk inside your house? If you have let junk food come back in your house? I mean, we're about to come up to Halloween. I guarantee you candy is going to be left over in your house. Thanksgiving's coming, Christmas is coming, and New Year's. If you're not vigilant in your environment, you're going to have junk food back. Now, one of the things that you can do to be successful in life, for example, is to just get up a little bit earlier. And I'm technically retired from surgery. I don't operate anymore, but I still get up early. Now, people don't realize this, but I am a naturally very lazy person. Very naturally lazy person. And so I've had to set up things and use techniques in order for me to wake up early, okay? So the main thing that I do, and I highly recommend you do this, is I've taken my alarm, which for everybody these days is your cell phone, right? And I've taken the drastic measure of putting my cell phone in my dining room so that when it goes off at 4:53 in the morning, 4:53 a.m., I have to get my butt out of bed and walk to the dining room to turn it off. And I have my coffee maker already set to brew. So all I have to do is walk to the kitchen, hit brew, and it starts brewing. Then I walk to the living room, sit my ass down, and start meditating. That's really important to set yourself up for success, all right? These are things about how your life is going to change, and these are things I teach my patients. These are techniques that I teach at my workshop, for example. So number one thing you can do to change your life the way you want it to change is to, number one, control your environment, okay? Control your environment, which is kind of tip number two also. If you want your life to change, you've got to up level. Someone put up level in the comment section. Up level the people you hang out with. Now, if you're watching this and you've had weight loss surgery, you cannot, listen to me, listen to me, you cannot go back to the same environment. You cannot go back to hanging out with the same people. If your best friend right now, pre-op, is overweight and you have surgery, but she does not have surgery, you cannot go back and keep hanging out with her. Why? What's keeping her obese? It's all the stuff that made you obese in the first place. It's going to the same restaurants, same places, hanging out with the same people, having the same negative conversations, not trying to up level, not trying to improve your life. She will eventually drag you back down to either you regain the weight or y'all have to wake up because you have to tell that bitch how it's going to be. You see what I'm saying? And then you're going to look back and you're going to realize, dude, she was a relationship that was holding me back. I need to up level. I need to quit going to my mother-in-law's. I need to quit going to the same restaurants. I need to quit doing the same Friday night margaritas and hangout and drinks and restaurants and bars. Now, when I tell people this, they get kind of upset. They're like, Dr. Vuong, I have good friends. I love my family. Listen, we are all a product of our environment, which is number one, right? I promise you, they contributed immensely, probably 90% to your obesity. Think about that, And I'm not even talking about all the horror stories I hear, all the abuse stories, the rape, the mental, physical abuse that happened to you at hands of your loved ones or even strangers. or even your loved ones reliving the event for you, you cannot go back to that. You have to trust me on this. You need to make it a goal to up level your friends and relationships prior to surgery. So if you don't make that decision, if you think you're going to have weight loss surgery and go back to your indifferent husband, I'm saying indifferent, and you know it, he's probably not supportive or would rather see you stay obese, but I'm just going to be nice and say he's indifferent to your weight loss surgery. If you go back to that environment, I can almost guarantee one of two things. You're either going to regain the weight or you're going to get a divorce. Okay? So you need to up level your circle of friends. There's a saying that says we become the average of the 5 people we hang out with. And this is very true. If the average of your 5 closest relationships all never went to college, chances are you don't have a college degree. If most of your friends are divorced, chances are you're heading towards a divorce. If most of your friends, take the 5 people you hang out with the most, average their salaries, and that's probably your salary, or very close, right? You become the average. So if you want your life to change, you need to up level your friends. You need to do an upgrade. Now, I'm going to Australia on a tour here pretty soon, and it is sad to me how many people won't drive an hour to see me and won't pay $50 US to come for a meet and greet that could change their lives. I'm telling you, that is a money issue. That's a thinking issue. That's a behavior issue. And it's odd because they won't spend the money, but those are things, exactly the sort of things that I'll be talking about. How to improve your life, right? There's no difference coming to see me than, people will pay $150 on your eye to get your eyebrows and eyelashes, fingernails done, and you won't spend $150 on a conference that could change your life. Any conference, not just my conference. Which takes me to number 3. How do you find these people? Tip number 3, to up level. It's exactly what I just said. You've got to go where they are. In my long journey for success and self-improvement, I've come to realize that successful people hang out with each other. They actively seek improvement. So they actively go to conferences. I pay to go to conferences where I up-level the people I hang out with. I've always made my patients this promise, and I will make this promise to you watching. My promise is this: I will never tell you to do something that I don't do. Isn't that fair? Why would a weight loss surgeon tell their patient not to drink sodas, not to eat fast food, and that's what they're having for lunch? They're leaving the office with a diet soda. Why would a doctor tell a patient they need to work on their stress level, anxiety, and here's a pill, antidepressant to take, and they themselves are stressed out and unhappy? See, it does not make sense. When I'm telling you to up level, it's because I'm always trying to up level. I pay to go to conferences, and I pay a lot of money because, shit, man, Dr. V knows he wants to sit in the VIP section. You know what I'm saying? So I pay for VIP tickets, and some of these tickets are, I've paid as much as $10,000 to go to some of these conferences. Think about that. That's just for the admission, not the hotel, not the flight. So I don't know. It seems like $50 for a meet and greet is pretty reasonable, Just think about that. And that's tip number 3. You have to become an active seeker. SEEKER. Become an active seeker. Someone who's trying to improve, trying to learn. If you think you're going to have weight loss surgery and that it's going to be magical and it's just going to melt away and it's just going to be easy peasy, you're in for a rude awakening, okay? A big surprise. Now, some people, worse than that, okay, so some people go into weight loss surgery thinking that it's just going to be easy and it's going to be easy and beautiful. That's bad. Some people, the worst case, even worse than that, are people having weight loss surgery and they go, yeah, I know things are going to change. And then they just kind of go, yeah, I know things are going to change. That's why I'm having weight loss surgery. But they don't do anything to change. They don't read, they don't prepare, they don't start having conversations with their family members, they don't start having conversations with, their priest, their pastor, whoever, their rabbi. They don't start doing homework, research. I've got 400 free videos on YouTube you could watch. And some people won't even be fucking bothered to watch a free video, much less come to a conference, right? And they're headed for disaster. Now, here's the shitty part. Those people heading for disaster have people in their life watching them head for disaster and won't say a fucking thing. You hear what I'm saying? You guys have people in your life watching you headed towards a cliff to go off the cliff, and they won't warn you. They're not telling you, hey, watch out, you want to prepare, hey, there's a cliff you're headed towards. They are hoping you fail. They're either actively rooting for your failure or they're quietly watching. It's like a terrible traffic accident. You just can't help staring. Train wreck. Either way, they're complicit. Either way, they're not on your team. Either way, these are the people you need to get rid of your life. All right? That's my talk. I hope that's been helpful. You have to actively work on changing your life. Otherwise, it will change for the negative. Number 2, to change your life, you have to control your environment. Get all the junk food out of your house. Quit going to the same junky restaurants, fast food places. Quit hanging out with the same people at lunch. Have that conversation with your husband. Don't expect to go back to the same negative, passionate-less relationships. Number 3, up level the people you hang out with. And number 4, become a seeker of information and a seeker of other awesome people. And maybe a bonus number 4, there are people in your life right now that are rooting for your failure. They're hoping to see a massive, explosive train wreck. And it is my fucking duty, my job, my hopes for you to give you the tools that you look at them and say, fuck you, you're out of my life. That's my job to you. Give you the strength and the ability to say, screw you, this is my life, fuck off, go away. That's what I want you to do. Got it? Love you guys very much. I'll see you next time.